there. So you could get the equation of this curve, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. What's the gradient? By the way, that is 1.5 and a half. I'll leave it as decimal fraction, even though I don't like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. What's the gradient of that? Rise? 1.5.
Over 1.5.
Okay. 1.5. So a half over 3 halves is a third. Yeah. Goes through 0, 0. So this function here is, let's call it f.
X on 3.
Too easy. And the annoying one is this one, but then you go through the same process. What's the gradient?
I got 2 knots, I think. Negative 2 knots.
A half on? No.
Was negative 5.
I can think this, by the way. There's an up, I'm going to call it a half. There's a going back this way, I'm going to call that minus 2.5. Okay? Give you a grunt.
Yeah.
So that's you could talk about there's a 50 cents and there's 5 50 cents, so that's
Yeah,
minus a fifth if you wanted to. Or you can go through and multiply and all that sort of stuff. I'll write it for a second. So it's a half divided by 5 on 2, and you just see the minus 1/5 now. So if you didn't see it, if I put this on something, I want people to see it's a minus 1/5. So this function of x is minus 1/5 of x plus c. How do you figure out what c is? Substitute the point. And then you get the integral of this one from there to there, integral of this one from there to there and out of that. Or, you've already got the answer in part A, you get the answer of part B, and subtract them from 1. So what's what I want to do? You keep going down that path and do it. But at the moment, all I want to say is that's what people will traditionally do, and I want to get rid of all of that now and do this step. How far is it from there to there? 1.5.
It's a half.
This is 1.5. How far is it from there to there? How far are we from there to there when we get to there? What fraction of there to there?
2 to 1 ratio. So it's 2/3.
We're 2/3 of the way to a half, which is a 1/3. What's that 1/3 got to do with the price of fish? This point here is 1/3. My brain looks at it and they go 2/3 of the way to a half. What am I? 1/3, 2/3 of the way to a half, so I know that's 1 and 1/3. How easy is it for me to get the area then? Half the base times the height.
You can just use your y equals x on 3 formula.
Oh yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to talk common sense, practical, look at it and go, my brain looks at it and goes, I'm 2/3 of the way to there, which means I'm 2/3 of the way to there. So I'm 2/3 of, and I could have written 2/3 of a half.
Does that just work for any straight line?
Yes, absolutely. Now this is, if I tell you what it is, we're doing similar triangles without doing similar triangles. Yeah, I know, you were saying to me about similar triangles, so I go. Now, this one here, what am I, from there to there? I'm 2/5 of the way. 2/5 of, how much again? 2/5 of the way?
2.5.
And a half.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, 2/5 of the way. At this point, that bit there is 2/5 of the total. Because that's 2/5 of the total.
2/5 of 1.5.
Yeah, which
So
is
6.
a fifth. So now I've got a triangle with a fifth there. Let's write it this way, this is about. I think of a better way to write it. So this is 3 and 1/5. Area of that triangle. Half the base times the height, let's write it for a moment. The base is 1, what's its height? A fifth. So that's an area of a tenth. What's the area of this one? Area of the triangle there is called triangle 1, triangle 2, 4, 5, 6. Half base times the height. So what was the base? We knew it was 1, we just needed to know its height. You could have had an educated guess and looked at it and probably said There's a quarter, so it's just above a quarter. It's probably a third if you didn't take in what I just said. So that's a sixth, that's a tenth. So you go 1 minus a sixth and a minus a tenth. Right answer then. No integrals, no nothing. How many people will think that way? Not a lot. But maybe you will. I see that. I suppose over the years I've seen quite a few of that sort of questions, and I go, oh, well, that's 1 and a third, and I go, that's 3. And I can fairly quick on my head go, that's a fifth. Why? Because it's 2/5 of a half. 2/5 of a half. So my brain can just go, oh, 2/5 of a half is 1/5. Or half of 2/5 is 1/5. And I go, incident. 1 minus a 6 and minus a 10. Of course you've got to do that. How's your fractions? Will I do this one? What will I do?
1 minus bracket 6 plus a 10.
Or will I go 1 bracket?
I'll do 1 minus bracket 6 plus a 10.
That's not that.
Yes.
Yes it is. 6 plus, thank you, you were doing exactly what I wanted to do. I was interpreting that you weren't saying what I wanted. So then I go, that's 10 and 6 is 16 on 60. And I go, that's,
44
yeah,
on 60. 22 on 30.
44 on 60. 22, you could have done it quicker, but I'm going to go 22 on 30 and 11 on 15. Probably from years of teaching too, by the way. I would have looked at it as a kid and gone divide by 4, but these days I tend to half, because I've taught so many kids.
I just half and half.
And it does it in a fraction of a second. Tends to have less errors, by the way, than people who go half. Other people do stupid stuff. So my question is that one more time. Do you see that this is 2/3 of the way? So we go 2/3 of the way in a straight line to there. I go 2/3 of the way up there, which is 2/3 of a half. I go 2/5 of the way to there. So I've got to go 2/5 of the way to there. And when you start to see it, and now I've nagged about it a little bit, you go, I like that. I can get that. Mission card, if I bother to put it up as a video, and you go look at it again in 2 weeks' time, and you go, and then you'll go, why did it take so long to explain it? So I could do a similar question and make it, an adaptation of that. We want to know what it was there and there. But we know that this one here is 1/3. So we're how easy this one becomes.
Yeah.
We're half the way to 1/3, so that's 1/6. We're half the way to 1/3, so that's also 1/6. So I made the question too easy. So let's make the question a little bit harder and do this one. Go there. We want to know that one. And we want to know...
Did you want the base level?
Hey?
What?
Oh yeah, 4.5.
Yeah.
Is it 4 months? What's
So that one there.
6.
So you know the base of this is 1.5.
Pretty sure that. 1.51.
How tall is that?
It's like 1.4 to me, so.
Oh.
1.5.
Okay. I've gone yucky by the way this one. Now we went from really simple to really yucky. So I'm 3/4 of the way to there. So I've got to get 3/4 of a third, which turns out to be 1/4. So anyone that was feeling comfortable would probably have an educated guess and say, if that's a third, it's probably a quarter. You can do it. You can. So this is
And then that's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So it's 3/8.
So 3/8 of
third.
third, which is pretty revolting. To nail. So this area is
1
half of the base, 3 on 2, by the height, and everything in fractions.
Okay.
This area is half of the base, which is 1 on 2, by the height, which is 1/4. How easy is that? So that is 3 on 32, and that's 3 on 16, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you go, this area is 1 minus 3 on 16 minus 3 on 32, and then my brain goes 1 minus 6 on 32 minus 3 on 32, and you've got 9, so that's 23 on 32, isn't it?
Yeah.
And suddenly it's just ridiculously easy.